Simon from What Culture here, and look who was also here is James Storm. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing right. No one else today has asked me how I am. I really appreciate that.
See, that's not cool at all.
No, it's not. No one else. Every time I've been like, they're going to ask something, they're going to ask, and it never comes out.
That's called learning the business coming up the right way.
Exactly. You've got respect and you understand.
These damn young whippersnappers, these young kids, they don't know nothing about respect no more.
They don't, and it upsets me every time. That's not true. I'll say that. People like that. Please, I don't mean that. Now, you just pointed out there, at this point, you are, a well-travelled, I bet some people say veteran's a bad word. I mean in a good way, like you're experienced and you've been all over the place.
Right.
Now, how is the world of professional wrestling for James Storm?
I mean, it's going great right now. I mean, I can't, people always say, oh, well, you're getting older. Well, I feel better than I've ever felt in my career. I'm getting in the best, condition I've ever been in my career. So, to me, I'm like a fine wine. I'm getting better with time.
That's really that right, man. And how is it for you balancing? Because you've got a lot going on at the moment. Like obviously you're doing I don't know what to call it anymore.
I mean,
can I call it Global Force Wrestling?
I think it's right. GFW, and I think Impact is the name of the television
we'll
show.
call it Impact then. Yeah. I know that one, right? So we're doing that, and obviously you've got, you're over here for WCPW, and I'm sure you've got other shows going on as well. I mean, how do you balance such a demanding schedule, even with all the stuff you've done? I mean, it must be for you like, man, things are just...
No, I mean, to me it's great. I mean, because my wife is like, you gotta get out of the house. Like, I'm tired of seeing you, because, when Impact was going strong, I mean, we were on the road, 120 days a year, so I didn't even know I was married until I got back home, and I'm like, wait, where'd you come from, And no, but, I think my wife, it helps the marriage out, because my wife's like, here, you get out of the house.
Give me some space, and then...
Hey, it's good, because I can get away from the kids and all that stuff, too, so bad thing is, she can't do that one.
No, you're like, hey, man, this is the life I bought into.
That's what you signed up for,
And you mentioned house shows there as well, obviously, that's what Impact's back, you're about to go, you've got some New York shows coming up and stuff. Do you see this as almost like a new renaissance for the company? Because you've been with it a long time, you've seen it come and go up and down.
And it's just like it was in the very beginning. Like they got to once again take baby steps to, they just can't jump right in and start running, 200 house shows a year or whatever, and I think this is just a baby step and one of the markets they always did good at, and I know they're looking at some other markets that they did good at. So, like I said, it's just baby steps, and hopefully it'll just catch fire again.
And you excited about them? Obviously, you had Slammiversary as well, which is your first pay-per-view in quite some time. So it seems like all those things are slowly coming back. Like, do you find that exciting? Do you kind of see the potential where the new version could go?
Yeah, because all the boys in the back were very excited about this. The pay-per-view Slammiversary, just because there was so much talk about it, and and it kind of had the wrestling world kind of talking about who might show up, that's what you want in wrestling. People want to tune in because they're curious, and I think that's a good thing about what Jeff is doing now. Jeff has been around Jeff Jarrett's been around wrestling his whole life, like for the last 80 years. Don't tell us that. but no, and it's good to have someone like that knows what it takes to start a promotion from the ground up, because that's basically what Impact is having to do again. That's starting again from the ground up again.
Absolutely. I mean, are you amazed it's got as far as it has? Because people always write it off, and it always flips the finger, man, and it comes back stronger.
Every year people have said, it's going out of business, it's going out of business. And I always tell people all the time, I'm like, well, you're not a real wrestling fan then, because to me, if I was a real wrestling fan, I wouldn't want a company to go out of business.
No, it makes no sense.
Yeah, where I get to go, where I can tune in to watch some of my favorite wrestlers, because let's face it, like if Impact goes out of business, there's some other guys that WWE might not pick up, that you might not see again.
Yeah.
And I always say that you never wish anything like that on the boys, especially where they can go and make a good living for their family.
Absolutely. And you mentioned WWE, obviously you had that sort of mini run, we'll call it, a couple of years ago, whatever it was.
Undefeated.
It's true. Hey man, it's true. You can go back there tomorrow, man. I'm beating me. But how was that for you, sort of NXT and stuff? Did you enjoy it? Good experience?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. Like I said, I've told everybody before, like they treated me with respect and everything. It just wasn't a right, to me, it's timing in wrestling and stuff. It just wasn't the right time because with the family stuff I had, and I had to get some personal issues taken care of and everything. And everybody's like, "Oh, was it about money?" No, it's not. Like, no, I've made enough money in my career. Like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm set, and I got other options I can do. So it was more of just a timing thing for me that I had to do. So.
And that's the beauty of the wrestling world at the moment. I think maybe it certainly feels like for me, you know far more. It feels like now there are more places to work than there have been in a long time. You do have choices should you want to have the choice.
Right.
So you can kind of make wrestling work for you as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not Impact and WWE anymore. You know, you have Ring of Honor that's making a big splash, and you have New Japan and Noah and AAA and, you know, WC here. You know, like,
Yeah.
I mean, just there's like no telling how many promotions here in England. But I mean, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, but also like good ones too. That's what you have to find. But I mean, it's just one of those things where wrestlers can go and they can make a living now, whereas, you know, 5 years ago you really couldn't.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And also, you've seen a lot in your career. And something that Impact has embraced a lot was all the Hardy stuff. And you continued it on with the Jeremy Bormash, Josh Matthews stuff you did at Slammiversary, which I actually thought was incredibly entertaining. What do you take on that? Like, you know, you're kind of a quintessential wrestler in many ways, and then all of a sudden you see people running around with drones and backstage cameras. And
Yeah, you know, when Matt first came to me and he was kind of telling me this idea, whatever, I was like, man, I was like, oh.
whatever you say, man.
Yeah, I was like, hey, man, whatever you want to do. Because I remember he telling me, hey, man, I want to take your boot off and bite your foot. I'm
That's the
like,
thing. Yeah.
man, I don't know if you want to take my boot off and bite my sweaty foot, but hey, if that's what you're into,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just one of those things that he made it work somehow. You know, he just, you know, as crazy as people thought it was, you know, he made it work somehow, you know. So.
Well, I thought Jeremy Bormash and Josh Matthews, that whole skit with, you know, Abyss coming back and James Mitchell, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Shark Boy was there.
I thought that was the best with the Shark Boy thing or whatever, you know. And so it's one of those. And I even said, you know, I think we should do something where, I go to the doctor and the doctor has like the big brain thing up on the thing. He goes, dude, you don't even have a concussion. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm like, well, what's wrong with me then? He goes, dude, you got narcolepsy. He goes, you just fell asleep.
I found out the other day, I was reading Chris Jericho's book, because that's what I do, I'm a wrestling fan, I read books, and I found out that Curtis Hughes had narcolepsy, and he used to fall asleep at ringside. I was like, what?
Right.
Well, what do you do?
That's
How do
a
you
great
do that?
gimmick. Like, you hit your finisher and you fall asleep.
And then you
could have just
continue.
stayed awake. You know?
This is yours, man.
I know.
This is yours. This
I can
is,
do it.
you can get even higher than you
Yeah.
already are.
Yeah.
So, awesome. James Storm, thank you much for your time.
Hey, man.
Good luck going forward.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
man.